I'm going to show you how to use a software called Flipmine to flip books from eBay onto Amazon. But before we get started, I just want to let you know that these are all books that I have actually sold on Amazon to make a profit for. Some low tier flips, mid tier flips, high tier flips, and mega flip. This is all as part of my previous video on Flipmine, but I didn't really go over the sort of process for how to buy the books. I think I did, but maybe I didn't do a great job. So in this video, I want to break it down really simple. How can you find books like this? How can you find a book to make $66 profit on, to make $59 profit on? What is the sort of process for doing that? Just real quick, if you do decide to use Flipmine because you watched this video and you thought that I gave you value, one way you could support the channel is just by simply using my link to sign up to use Flipmine. And now that the ad's over, let's get right back to it. So let's just first start with how this process would work and how you would actually make money with this software. So how it works is pretty simple. You use eBay to buy undervalued books and you send them to either a prep center, or if you don't have a prep center, you send them to your own house and you prep them. Then you send them to an Amazon warehouse. Amazon holds the book until a customer buys it via Amazon FBA, and basically the customer gets free delivery, free prime shipping to the customer. So that's basically how the process works. Now, the way I see it, there's about 3 different ways or strategies that you can make money flipping books with this software. The first way is by exploiting the prime gap. The second way is by exploiting the textbook season. And the third way, and the way that I think you should really focus on, because I think it has the most value, is buying undervalued books on eBay. And by undervalued books, I mean incorrectly priced books, meaning an eBay seller put this book up on the eBay marketplace well below what they should have, and that gives you an online arbitrage opportunity to go ahead and buy it and then sell it on Amazon. Now, by buying undervalued books and focusing on that strategy, that doesn't mean you can't also do these things simultaneously. In many ways, the best book that you could buy would be a book that's undervalued, meaning it was priced incorrectly, and it's a book that you can use to exploit the textbook season and also exploit the prime gap. Okay, so first let me show you what I mean by exploiting the prime gap. So let's say you're on Flipmine and you're using these rules. You're saying, I want the Amazon price to be at least $30 or more. I want the eBay price to be $5 or less. I'm looking at the book category. I want the sales rank to be less than 500,000. Well, this returns some results. And let's say you click on this result here for advanced placement because it's saying you can make $30 profit. You can make a 600% return on investment. So if we go ahead and open up the listing, this book you can buy on eBay for $4.99. If you go on over to the actual Amazon page and you look at the lowest used merchant offers, you can actually buy this book on Amazon for $8.22. Yet the prime gap, or the difference between the merchant price and the Amazon prime price, is quite significant, right? It's $29.99 if you want to buy it prime. And what you'll notice is that that's actually the used buy box here. So one of the strategies that I think I see a lot of people try to use with Flipmine, and I'm not saying this is bad, I'm just saying I wouldn't do this, is they're trying to buy books and make profit by exploiting the prime gap. So in this case, you wouldn't really be buying an undervalued book. You're just buying a book and profiting off of you being able to sell the book prime rather than sell the book merchant fulfilled. Now, what's interesting about this book is it also can be used to exploit the textbook season. And what I mean by that is another strategy a lot of people I think use when it comes to Flipmine is they're trying to buy a book on eBay and try to hold on to it to sell it during the textbook season. So for those of you who don't know, textbook season is going to be August and also January. That's going to be the time of the year where students go back to school, and therefore they need books, and there's a lot more demand for books. And so what you can actually see here is that the sales rank during August, in particular for this book, has this U shape where sales rank goes down really, really low because a lot of students need the book and they're buying it. And also during those times, you can see that the used offer count drops significantly because people are buying the book. And as a result, you have more demand. The price of the book, to buy a copy of the book is going to go up because all of the people who have their books priced at the lower end of the spectrum are basically being bought out. And so the price of the book goes out. So somebody might come across this $4.99 listing and go, hey, this is a great pickup. I can buy this for $5. I have some pretty strong historical data to show that the price of this book increases during the textbook season. And actually, when Amazon and third-party sellers went out of stock this past September, this book went pretty crazy. It went like triple what its retail price is. So that's pretty insane. So that's another strategy, is to buy in the off season and exploit the textbook season gap. But again, the reason why I would say you probably shouldn't do all of your books like that is because it still is a gamble, right? Because there is historical data to show that it might have happened in the past, but I've tried it enough times and got burnt enough times where it didn't actually happen, that I now know from experience that to me, it didn't really work for my business model. So what that leaves me left with is buying undervalued books or buying books that are priced incorrectly on eBay. And so what do I mean by that? Well, what I'm going to do is actually show you a number of books that I've purchased on Flipmine over the past 3 or 4 days. And these are books that I'll actually show you the screenshot of how much I paid on eBay. A lot of these books are books I actually sent offers on by contacting the seller because maybe they didn't quite make sense at the buy it now price, but by sending an offer, it might have made more sense if I could lower the buy cost. But here's an example of a book. So I'll go and put this screenshot of eBay of what I paid for this book. But I paid $38.21 for this Ottoman book here. And the reason why I bought it for $38 is because I felt this was undervalued. I have about the last 7 months of historical data to show that this book has been selling for at least $140. And the way that I know that is if I looked at the used price and the new price, and I overlap the sales rank, it basically gives me an indication that, hey, at this point in time, there is a sales rank drop. That means the book sold, the used price, the lowest used offer price was 141. Looks like the new price was 148. So I know that the book sold for at least $141. And so I can say that, hey, during this time period, it looks like the book sold for well over $140. So if I could buy it for $38, that seems to be undervalued or underpriced. Now, if you look a little bit further back in history, you actually see that the price was a little bit lower. And there's a lot of historical sales here around $90 and also around like 100, 110. But even at 90 or 110, still buying it for 38 would be undervalued, right? Because if I just sold it for what it's historically sold at, let's say it's 90, 92, then that would be a $25 profit and a 66% ROI. Now, one thing that you should definitely check is the used offer count. By used offer count, I mean the number of people actually selling the book. So in this case, you see that the used offer count is actually over the past year, the lowest it's ever been. So that's really good news. You really want to be careful when you see these used offer counts increasing significantly, because when you see more sellers come on the listing, then everyone's going to be way more competitive with pricing, and that's going to bring down the price of the book. And so if we actually look a little bit further back into history, one of the reasons why the used offer, the used price was a lot lower is because Amazon was actually on the listing here, but also there was a lot more used offer. There's a lot more used offers available that people could have bought. So for me, I felt like this is an undervalued book. I would say worst case scenario, I sell this for 90, 92 and make $25. I would say probably more realistically, considering that the used offer count is quite low right now, I could probably sell this pretty easily for $125. And if I sell it for $125, I'd make 142% ROI. Okay, so here's another book that I just recently bought. I paid $29.16 for this. Again, here's the data I'm looking at. In the past few months here, I got a sell at 99. I got one sell at 47. Then I have one at 99, 99, and then a couple over here at 70. So again, if I'm buying this for 29 and there's historical sales to show that this is selling for $70 or $90, then this is undervalued. And one thing that you'll also notice on the Keeper graph that's interesting here is that the used offer count from November to May actually looks like there is no used offer count. And that's because this book basically was never in stock. Like this book, as soon as it came into stock, someone bought it. And so you can see that, there's a lot of demand for this book because like this book was listed for 27, it was gone. This book was listed for 16, gone. It was listed for 13, gone. And so that gives me an indication that at those prices, like those, that's definitely a price someone's willing to pay to buy this book. But if we go a little bit further back into history where the used offer count is higher, let's say around 9 or 12, like there's still historical data to show that this book was selling for $90. If we look at when the used offer count was 19 or 22, meaning there's 22 other people trying to sell this book, it's still selling for $54. So if I'm buying it right now for $29.16 and the used offer count is 4, then I think I'm buying this book undervalued. And I'd say even if I just sell it at this $72 mark, which is what it's recently been selling for, I make a $25 profit. Right now, it looks like that's actually what the buy box is. So, you could actually, and you might be able to sell for more, 99, because this book did sell 3 times for $99 when the used offer count was higher than it is today. Okay, now let's go back to Flipmine and actually look at some of the parameters that I use to find these books. I just do a really simple search. I want to look for books on Amazon that are over $85, and I want to look for a sales rank less than 2 million. And I think that's just because a lot of people are afraid to sell slower moving books. And I understand that because of restock limits and things like that. But I think you can miss a lot of really good opportunities if you're not searching for books that have a little bit higher sales rank. One thing that I want to let you know is that finding books like this, like the last couple books that I showed you, that's not something that Flipmine is going to return with every result. A lot of this is cherry picking. And like I said, you could probably go through these 10 or 12 listings and not find one of those books that are undervalued. But the point of this is just to show you that, Flipmine is not perfect, but it definitely is a software that can help you find these books. And so maybe let's just go ahead and do a little bit of live sourcing here to see, like, if this would be a good deal or not. So one thing that I would want to probably do in the beginning is look at ROIs. Again, it's not going to be 100% accurate, but I'm probably going to want to look at things that are at least like 40, 50% or more. So, this one at 351%, it intrigues me, but also it doesn't really look like this would be a book that would be realistically selling for $104. So I'm not even going to look at that book. But let's go ahead and take a look at, this Wildflower book. This $600 used price doesn't really look like that would be good either. But okay, you can buy this on eBay for $72. You come over here to Amazon, you could buy it for $38. So why would you even look at this at the Keepa chart? It's like you could buy it for $38. Obviously, you're not going to buy it for $70. So that person on eBay, I don't know what they're doing. They're listing it for way more than probably what it's worth. All right, let's just go to this one right here. This is 106%. Supposedly, let's take a look here. So $50, you can buy it on eBay. Looks like the lowest used price on Amazon is $22. So again, not a book that seems to be profitable, considering you can buy it on Amazon for about half the price you can buy it on eBay. But actually, this is an interesting book to look at because there are actually some recorded historical sales that looks like over $90 and $100. So this could potentially be an Amazon online arbitrage opportunity. So you might actually just even look at what offers are available here. And I actually do a lot of Amazon to Amazon book flipping as well. And I've got a ton of strategies on my channel on how to do that as well. But this is a Flipmine video, so let's just keep going through and do a little bit of live sourcing. One thing that I kind of just want to get across is that you shouldn't expect every book that you find here as a result to be a book you want to buy, because in most cases, I would say 80 or 90% of the books you go through are books you would not want to buy, at least according to my criteria of like buying undervalued books. So here's a book you can buy for $52.95. It's actually out of stock on Amazon over here. But if we look at the recorded historical sales, we got a couple sales at 50, a couple at 60, maybe probably there at the new price at 95. If we go back further, we got a couple historical sales probably at the new price of 70. So for me, if this book's $52 new and the historical sales show that it's selling for about 60, that's not an undervalued book. And also, the sales rank of this book is not amazing, so it's going to take a while to sell as well. So let's just keep going. Let's see, this is an interesting book here. So you can buy this on eBay for $21. Wow, this book right now, if you wanted to buy it, $149 is the lowest price. Buy box is $199, but this is completely a book I would not buy though, because it's not undervalued. It just happens that right now the price of this book, if you wanted to buy it on Amazon, is really, really high. But historically speaking, the price of this book should really be selling for $14.95, because that's what the Keepa data shows. And so this person pricing at $21.95 is, I guess, a great deal, considering that's the cheapest price probably right now if you wanted to buy it. But in the grand scheme of things, nobody's probably willing to pay $149 on Amazon. And the way I know that is the sales rank hasn't dropped for the last month when the price has been $149. So again, one of the strategies we talked about is exploiting the prime gap. And this would be a great example of the prime gap, which is you could buy this book for $21.95 and the buy box is $199 for prime. But in this case, it'd be probably completely unrealistic to be able to sell this book for $199 or anywhere close to that, because again, the historical sales data shows that this should be selling for about $15. So again, that's a book I would very quickly pass on. Okay, let's just keep going and see if we can find any more books. So let's see. This is supposed to be a 72% ROI, so let's go ahead and take a look through that. So we can see you can buy this on eBay for $63.95. Right now you can buy it on Amazon for $34. Buy box is $42. Now, this is actually really interesting data, is that back in August, there's a number of sales at 200, there's a number of sales at 80, number of sales at 50 there. And now all of a sudden the price has gone down to about 38. Interestingly, the used offer count hasn't really gone up, but the price of this book on Amazon's going down. So maybe if this book were to get to, look, I'm actually setting a tracker for this book, so for $18.93. So if this book got to $18.93, I'd probably actually consider doing an Amazon to Amazon flip, considering the data that I'm looking here for what it can sell at. But the point is that obviously this would not be a good deal if you came across this on Flipmine. So, again, I'm trying to show you that when you're looking through these listings, a lot of the time, like, it's cherry picking. Most of the books you find are not going to be a good book. So here's a book that just was listed recently, 11:42 p.m. Apparently you can make a 47% ROI. So let's see how accurate that is. So you can buy it for $75 on eBay. Right now you can buy it for $70 on Amazon. So it doesn't seem like that's a great deal. You know, a couple of sales over here for 95, but yeah, I would say not a book that you'd want to buy. Okay, so I'm just going to go over 5 or 6 more books that I bought over the last couple of days by doing this cherry picking, trying to find undervalued books. So this one's called Black Belt Korean Karate. So I bought this on eBay for $32.89. You know, one thing you notice about this book is that, you know, it doesn't sell very frequently. So, you know, maybe this wasn't the best buy in terms of trying to get this to sell as quickly as possible, but I think it'll definitely sell and I'll definitely make profit. So why would I buy it for $32? Well, we have a number of sales here at 94. We got a sell at 99, some sales here at 94. That's pretty consistent historical data to show that at this used offer count, that's what the book is going for. Now, if we go a little bit back into the past, looks like it sold for 45 there, sold for 85. And if I go a little bit further back into the past, we see that even at really high offer counts, like this book is selling for about $60. You know, this is not a textbook. Also, I know it says 1983rd edition, or the 1983rd edition, I guess is what it is. But there's definitely not a new edition of this coming out anytime soon. This is not a textbook. So I can feel confident that, you know, considering that the used offer count is very low historically since the last, you know, for the last four to 6 years. And, you know, the fact that even at high offer counts, this book is still selling for $50, $60, $80. Buying it for $32.89 is actually a good deal, right? That's a book that's undervalued. So what do I think I could sell it for? Well, I think I can sell it for probably at least that $95. Now, interestingly, you notice that the buy box is $197. It's not completely out of the realm of possibility that you could sell for $197. I think that's probably unrealistic. But remember, when it comes to the way that we're sourcing, ultimately we're trying to buy undervalued books. That doesn't mean we're not also trying to exploit the prime gap. Obviously, we're trying to exploit the prime gap, but we just don't want that to be the sole reason why we're buying a book. So for me, yeah, of course, for this book here, I'm going to try to exploit the prime gap a little bit. I would say probably not that much, by an extra $100, but I would definitely think that I could probably sell this for $129.99, especially if I'm going to be the lowest Amazon Prime by about $70. So I think that's totally reasonable to sell for $129. But again, the point is, even if I wasn't exploiting the prime gap and I just sold it for what it's historically selling for, I'd still make 129% ROI. All right, let's go and look at the next book. So this is called a Human Spaceflight book. I bought this for $42. Right now, the price of this book is really inflated, and it's inflated to a point where probably no one's going to buy it at this value. But right now, the buy box is $249. Let's go and take a look at the Keepa chart. So I see a number of sales here for 99. Again, a couple sales here for 100. Interestingly here, there's 2 sales for 275. So actually, this might not be completely out of the realm of possibility, considering 2 people did purchase it for that amount. And then down here, we have a couple sell, maybe a sell for 58, couple sales for 95, and then one at 190. Now, used offer count is actually very low right now historically, which again is good news. It does look like this is going to be a textbook, and actually there is a newer edition out. So one thing we also have to be careful about is buying books, textbooks that have newer editions out, because generally over time, when those newer editions are out, this older edition is probably going to go down in value over time. But we do have historical data to show that recently it has been selling for a pretty high dollar amount. If we go back a little bit into history, we can see that at higher used offer counts, this was selling for about $100, even, you know, back here up to $270. But with books that are textbooks and have older editions, the further you go back in time, the less helpful it's going to be, because obviously this book back in January 2020 was much more relevant than it is today, because, you know, there's now a newer edition out. So I wouldn't go too far back into the used offer count and keep a history for textbooks that have newer editions. But in this case, I felt comfortable, like, hey, buying this at $42, I feel like that's undervalued. I could probably easily sell this for $95, make a $27 profit. You know, if I go as crazy as these people and try to get the prime box and also try to exploit the prime gap, then maybe, you know, I can sell this for $249.99. It's not out of the realm of possibility, and you can make $160. Probably more realistically, I'll come in and I'll price this at a price where I want it to move. So I'll probably price it at like $119. I think that's a fair price, and I'll make $50 on that. But again, you could probably make more on that. All right, so here's another book that I bought. This is a palpation techniques book. I bought this for $14 on eBay. If we go and take a look at the Keepa chart, again, same story. The goal is for us to buy undervalued books on eBay. That means to buy books that were incorrectly priced by eBay sellers. So again, here's a book that, again, hasn't really sold a whole bunch, but when it has sold, it sold for a couple times at 86, a couple times here at 40, a couple times at 49, a couple times at 68. So I felt, okay, well, there's a lot of historical data to show this is selling at 45. So if I were to sell this at 45, then I'd make a $12 profit, right? And if we go a little bit further back in history, actually, we shouldn't do that because there is a newer edition. So for me, this book doesn't sell a lot. And even though there is historical data to show that it's sold for 86, I probably won't price it at that because I want this book to move. So I want someone to come along at this listing and feel like, hey, they're getting a good deal. Surprisingly, the buy box is 126, and it's definitely not out of the realm of possibility that one of these sales could have been $126. So maybe 45 is a little bit too low, but maybe like 55 to give me a little bit more profit. I think that would definitely be a price where the book would move pretty quickly. Okay, let's go and take a look at another undervalued book. So I bought this book here on eBay for $18. I think I sent a best offer for this. I think they had it listed for like 25 or 27. Sent a best offer for 18 and they accepted it. So again, want to buy undervalued books. This is a book that actually sells much more frequently. The sales rank is a lot lower. You can see that the used black line is around 50 here. At its lowest, it's around 33. Up here, it's about 50. If we look at the used offer count, it's pretty low considering what it was back here when it was selling for about $40. So I felt like at 18 bucks, this is a book that's undervalued. Right now, the used buy box is 57. That's probably completely realistic right now, considering this book sells a lot and also that the lowest used price is around 53. Looks like there is a newer edition of this book out, but to be profitable, I would only have to sell this for like 40 bucks. I mean, I only make $5. So that's not a lot of money, but I think you could easily sell this for $50. In that case, you'd make $13. And I think you could honestly easily sell this for the buy box price of 57 and make 20 bucks. So not a huge flip, but I think that's a book that will sell probably within like 2 to 3 weeks of hitting the warehouse. Okay, so here's another book that I purchased on eBay. I bought this for $12.48. Okay, so this book is a little bit more interesting because its used price has been as low as $5 and as high as the new price of $56. Now, again, the one reason why I decided to buy this book was because the used offer count was really low. So right now the used offer count is about 7. And when the used offer count was a little bit lower here, you can see that this book was selling for about, north of $50. Back when the price of this book was around $5, the used offer count was actually about 20, meaning that when we looked here, there's actually about 20 sellers selling this book. Now there's only about 7 sellers selling this book. And so I feel like at $12.48, I could probably sell this for, based on what I'm seeing here, I could probably easily sell this for $30. Now, I would say of all the buys I've showed you, this is probably the worst buy. But even with this being the worst buy, you can see that the buy box is 51, and probably these sells here were the buy box at 51. So I would say, I think it was 12 something. I don't remember exactly. But I would say, even if you sold it at the buy box, you're making $24 profit. But probably realistically, what I would price this book at, we would be somewhere in like the 35 to 40 range. So probably like $39.99, and I'd make a $15 profit on it. Okay, the last book that I'm gonna show you, because this is just getting way too long, is this Right for Work book. I paid $21.66. Again, the reason why I bought this was because there's historical data to show it's selling for well over $21. So we got some historical data to show it's selling for about 70 here. Now, back in January, where the used offer count was 16, we actually have it selling for about 18 to 20. And notice that's kind of what I actually bought the book for here. And I think the reason why I bought it was because the used offer count's a little bit lower now. So I feel like I could probably get a little bit more for this. So let's actually look back a little bit further into time, and we can see that this isn't actually a pretty old book for a textbook. It's 2011, so it doesn't look like there's a new edition out. So if we look a little bit further back into history, we can see that at these higher offer counts, we're still seeing sales for upwards of $50 there or so. So again, this is probably not one of the better buys, but you still get the point. Like in the recent past, buying this for $21.66 is undervalued considering what it's selling for. Right now, the used buy box is $90.93. Totally in the realm of possibility to sell for that. I probably wouldn't list it that high because I do want it to move and sell it. I might list it for some around like $50. And if I sell for $50, I would say that probably would move pretty quickly. I'd make $10. Maybe I'd go a little bit higher to what it's historically sold for, $75, and I can make $31. Now, before we end this video, I want to also just briefly talk about this buying checklist that I have anytime that I want to buy books anywhere. So I think the length of this video is already too long, but if you want me to talk about my buying checklist, all the things that I go through before I buy any book, then let me know down in the comment section below, and I'll be sure to give that to you in the next video. That's all I got for you today. If you want to figure out other ways to source books online, that's not just using Flipmine, if that's using the track product feature, the deals page, OfferUp, Facebook Marketplace, Mercari, Craigslist, if you want to learn how to do any of that other sourcing, check out the channel. I got tons of videos on there, but that's all I got for you. So have a great day and goodbye. Just real quick, if you do decide to use Flipmine because you watched this video and you thought that I gave you value, one way you could support the channel is just by simply using my link to sign up to use Flipmine. Okay, let's get back to it. And now that the ad's over, let's get right back to it.